Hello, this is Manuel York for the Leading People Follow-Up Program. And today it's about resistance, and it's about type number 3 of resistance. Remember, number 1 was a request that is against the personal traits of the other person, which is kind of a natural resistance, easy to overcome by addressing because the other person is totally aware of it. Number 2 was habits, thinking patterns, beliefs, blind spots. So the person is in general aware of themselves, but in a certain part of their perception, they are in a dead end. And your job is through the conversation to shine light into this blind spot. It's a bit more challenging, but in general, the person is aware and the person has a certain amount of self-reflection. And when you hold your stand, you will be able to get through and create a dialogue. Now, type number 3 is really a difficult and unpleasant situation when the person has really stopped to cooperate and in a way is in a strong denial, encapsulate themselves into a defense mode, no longer participating and joining forces. And that happens every now and then. So in every organization, you will find people who somehow ended up in such a shell. And it's always a self-protective shell. So, and the challenge is that you have to open up that defense shell first before creating a dialogue. And this sometimes takes more than one conversation. So don't let yourself get encouraged when you have to repeat conversations with people who have that behavior or show that behavior. So how can you deal with that? And the challenge is that you have to be very precise in what you say. And you have to make a distinction between getting a crack into this wall, so to speak, and at the same time not to hurt the person. So this is a very delicate maneuver. And that's why many people are afraid of doing it. But you have seen it already, and it's again reminding you of what you already know and encouraging you to apply the tools. And the good thing is you cannot make things worse. So what you can do is, and here's what I would like to propose, is that you start with clearly saying what you want. So I want you to join forces. I want you to cooperate, so that you tap into the purpose story and say, I would like you to be part of our purpose story. And if you are lack language, then I would like to recommend to go to your material and read the profiler and read the criteria of our reference case, the green case, which was Jason. And Jason, as a perfect example of someone who participates in the purpose story, shows the following criteria. I just repeat them, I read them for you. It is, they are cooperating, which means sharing, helping, and informing others. They are self-motivated. They have self-confidence without putting themselves above others. They self-reflect, they learn, and they are willing to change. They are result-driven. They are pretty resilient, so they can hold their stand, and they are therefore reliable even under adverse circumstances. So this you can refer to if the other person may then sooner or later during the conversation ask you, what do you want from me? And then you can just refer to the purpose story and these positive criteria of our reference case. And then the other person will probably say, but I'm doing this, or do you think I'm not doing this? And this is a challenging moment where you really have to put the fish on the table. And you will see, and you will answer that with what you have observed. What I have observed is, and then you address what the other person is doing. And you will have to repeat that. And here comes the point that sometimes discourages people in such a conversation. These conversation partner will then show the same resistance that you are addressing towards you in this particular conversation. They will sit there and say, oh, that's not true, I have a different point of view, things like that. So what you then want to do is you want to mirror back that behavior. You say, look, you cross your arms, you sit there and you see that you're already doing it. And my impression is what you're doing is you are just trying to avoid that conversation. What I want is a dialogue. What we have right now is not a dialogue. And you will have to repeat that. And here comes a move that sometimes it's pretty, from the sleeves. And I'm not sure you want to do it, but you could do it. After maybe 10, 15 minutes going in circles, which is inevitable in such a conversation, but which is insofar a good thing because the other person learns through this that you are not giving up. So the move could be that you just interrupt for a moment and say, hey, look, consider this. If this would be a job interview, a recruitment interview, do you think you would get the job? So with these kind of interventions, you try to crack the wall around the person. And what then will happen in most cases is that something slips out of that shell, something personal, like, well, you are the 6th manager in 8 years, or I'm here for 20 years and it's actually getting boring and it's always the same job, and things like that will then slip out of this inner state, of the inner world of that conversation partner. So, and at this particular moment, and this needs some kind of awareness and spontaneity. What you want to do then is, first of all, you stop hitting into the wall, because that is no longer necessary, because you already created a crack from which these words or these sentences slip out. And what you then do is you catch these sentences and start exploring. You say, hey, you said I'm the 6th manager in 8 years. Let's talk about that. Tell me more about it. Sounds like people have ignored you over the years. So what is it? And then explore, and make that other person talk. So what you will very often see here is that something in the past happened that blocks them to align with the present. So this is bad news for achievers, because achievers want to quickly continue to the future. But what you have to do here is you have to take a moment of time to go back to the past of that person and to reflect the past. So to sort it out, to somehow allow space to reflect on it so that the person can recollect themselves and then make a move together with you into a joint future. And again, if you are not succeeding because it's a very difficult case of some really strong denial or strong self-focus or super strong lack of respect or whatever you may see here, then you always have the exit strategy. Go back to your material, take a look at the exit strategy, and then have it handy, have it there. And in worst case, after maybe 20 minutes, you use the exit strategy to finish that conversation and then invite the person to another conversation to continue this process. The message is, if I start a conversation, I will bring it to an end. I will not avoid it. So this is actually the most important message to the people around you, that you are not avoiding things. So with this, I'm now wondering if that could be an exercise for the next days. I hope you don't have a conversation like that. But in case you have it, then just give it a try. And if you don't, feel happy and lucky and focus again on your great co-workers and on the purpose story. So thanks a lot for hanging in. This is Manuel York for the Leading People Follow-Up program, and see you soon next time.